What is going on, everybody? So we're not even 2 weeks into 2024, and I hope everybody is having an awesome time playing all the games they picked up for the holidays and getting ready for what is going to be delivered to us in 2024 from game developers all across the industry. But let's face it, it was too damn quiet out there for a certain group of gaming media members, and they had to justify their own existence this last week by basically starting to perpetuate some myths and rumors from their trusted sources, like my trusted source, the cat on the other side of this curtain, that told me all about the show that's coming here next week from Xbox. But besides the point, I just love how all these gaming media sites want to use their trusted sources to somehow stir up some kind of excitement on social media. Now, the whole myth and rumor that they have decided to perpetuate has got a lot of people in a tiffle. Everybody's losing their mind on social media in one direction or another. And apparently, Xbox is wanting to make certain games multiplat, like Sea of Thieves and Hi-Fi Rush, which has some people on the end of the spectrum like, no, these are my precious exclusives, and other people on the other end of the spectrum are like frothing at the mouth, potentially being able to play a game that isn't on their plastic box is going to somehow upset somebody that is mad that they can play play this game on their plastic box, and it's a lot of plastic box warfare nonsense. But in all actuality, it's also quite comical to watch, because on social media alone, we have seen a number of PlayStation fanatics, fanboys, what have you, whatever you want to call them, deciding to talk about what Xbox games they can't wait to play, but they don't like Xbox. So is it just because they don't want to buy an Xbox? Do they have an issue with Microsoft because of something that happened back in the late 90s, early 2000s with Internet Explorer? Or is it just because they can't afford both game consoles? I don't know what it is, but it's quite funny that literally we are seeing certain members of the PlayStation community get on one knee, pray to the Book of X and to the Xbox developer gods to put some of the IP that Xbox has under its umbrella on the PlayStation, because let's just face it, PlayStation's 2024 lineup is pretty damn lackluster. So I don't blame them. I also really can't blame them, because let's face it, Xbox has some pretty damn good IP that they have crafted over the years. Very unique IP. It's not the same banter of over-the-shoulder, third-person, narrative-driven cinematic experience, throwing an axe, shooting a gun, pushing a box, throwing a spear and a bow and arrow. All great games in their aspects. I'm pretty sure you know which ones I'm kind of like poking at right there. But let's face it, Xbox has a very diverse, unique lineup. We have games for everyone, no matter what part of the gaming industry you enjoy to play games from. You have something over on the Xbox brand, and it appears that there's members of the PlayStation brand that really want some of the love and the uniquely crafted experiences that we are all experiencing over here on the Xbox ecosystem. They also see the love that we've already got lined up for 2024 and a little bit beyond, while their roadmap is still a little bit in the what the hell is going on category. Over on the Xbox side, we have great IPs getting lined up. IP like Hellblade 2, Avowed, Indiana Jones. Starfield is getting ready to come out with a DLC called Shattered Space. We also got Double Fine with their Project Kiln, and of course South of Midnight. So there is a lot of new IP getting ready to get shot out the barrel by Microsoft for all of us to enjoy, and some of it's pretty soon. There's even rumors that Indiana Jones is going to come out a lot sooner than we thought. But to also really add the icing on the cake, ABK has yet to really show what it's going to do now that it's been acquired with Xbox. We know that there is probably a project going on where they're going to reinvigorate the IP of like Spyro the Dragon, but also other titles that they have not talked about yet, not to mention stuff that's going to end up in Game Pass. And from what it's kind of sounding like, at least the rumors on the streets, the Twitter streets, X streets, whatever the hell you want to call them, that Activision Blizzard is going to get a very separate show. It's not going to be part of what's going on here in the next couple days of the developer direct and the global reveal of ESO. But ABK is supposed to potentially have their own show coming up where Xbox is really going to sit down and show exactly what the roadmap is going to look for the ABK studios. Now, with all this talk of all the great IP that everybody wants on the Xbox side and the ABK deal, and from what we have heard from PlayStation and the financial woes that they're having with some of their development costs, with some of their amazingly third-person over-the-shoulder cinematic-driven experiences, is the ballooning development costs behind these games. We all know that developing these games on any level has ballooned pretty high. And so therefore we have seen tactics over on the PlayStation side where they are starting to cannibalize their own ecosystem, where they've raised the prices of hardware, they've raised the prices of software, they've raised the prices of subscription services while taking away features. It appears that PlayStation's tactic is selling you for more and giving you less is in 2024. But that is where Xbox is wanting to take a different path. They are not wanting to cannibalize their own consumer base. They are wanting to continue giving them the dedicated value for their investment into the Xbox ecosystem. And that is where I feel a lot of people are forgetting about the number one exclusive that Xbox has that is untouchable right now, and PlayStation continues to double down on making sure that value like this will never be given to anybody, at least at this current moment on the PlayStation side, and that is Game Pass. Let's face it, Game Pass Ultimate, let's just round up, call it $20 a month, especially after tax and all that good fun stuff. For $20 a month, you get access to a large library of games. Xbox alone put in over $9,000 worth of IP into Game Pass in 2023. I don't know about you, but I don't got $9,000 laying around to buy all those games. And so therefore, Game Pass is an amazing value, especially in today's troubled times with inflation and other economic issues and the cost of bread, eggs, and milk completely out of control. Being able to pay $20 to have access to a large library of games and Microsoft Studio games day and date is a big value for everyone. And that is where I feel everybody is losing focus on the fact that Xbox's major exclusive right now when it comes to gaming is, yes, there is some IP out there that is exclusive that definitely justifies the inadequacies of certain people out there. But for the main exclusive that I feel Xbox has going for them is the value that they deliver to the consumer in Game Pass. I understand and I hear the loud minority of gamers out there, Xbox fans, that really feel that the idea of certain games going multi-plat is an absolutely asinine idea because they need to feel like they got one up on PlayStation when they don't already realize they do have one up on PlayStation. Xbox is not treating you like a walking ATM, and they are not trying to nickel and dime you to death. Instead, why are we so concerned about another platform potentially being able to play games that have been out already and have already reached their pinnacle? Let's start with Sea of Thieves. Awesome IP, developed very well by Rare. It has been a staple for the Xbox franchise, but let's face it, it's games as a service. A service-style game of this nature needs to be multi-plat to maximize revenue. They have probably already peaked on the Xbox ecosystem at this point, and they want to probably expand the breadth of that game. And that is where, if by some weird chance it does end up on PlayStation, I'd be floored. But if it does, I also think it's going to create some amazing experiences because we will literally be able to, on the Sea of Thieves world, be able to have an insane amount of battles between the PC, the PlayStation, and the Xbox communities. and it will literally be an absolute free-for-all, a pirate's life for me. It will be fun to watch, fun to partake in, and I really do think it's going to breathe a new breath, new life into the Sea of Thieves game on a scale that people have not yet fathomed, that literally this could be the game where they all take all their frustrations out on each other, or maybe actually get along and decide to go on some treasure hunts or do some of the other stuff in Sea of Thieves that you can do. But this is where I really do feel something like this would really be a shot in the arm for Sea of Thieves and give them a lot more revenue to continue creating IP for us over on the Xbox side. Then, of course, there's Hi-Fi Rush, potentially going over onto the Nintendo Switch. Now, I understand this one is a little bit of a point of contention for Xbox fans. I even kind of question it just a smidge because, let's face it, Hi-Fi Rush came out about this time last year. It was shadow dropped at the last Developer Direct. But from what I've also heard, it's only done about 2 million in sales. Obviously, it's done a large amount in Game Pass play. But when we really look at it, yes, the game is potentially at its peak over on the Xbox ecosystem. And on top of that, there is a great camaraderie and partnership between Nintendo and Xbox. And that's where I really feel like Xbox is tossing Nintendo a bone. Like, here's Hi-Fi Rush. It's a smaller IP. It's not like these tentpole franchises like the Halos, the Forzas, the Gears. And that's where I really do feel maybe at the same time Microsoft is baiting the Nintendo community, because there is potential that they are going to use Hi-Fi Rush to get people hooked in, and then when they drop Hi-Fi Rush 2, people are going to want to play that and come over to the Xbox side, and then maybe a short time later you could also see it come out on Nintendo. But let's face it, Nintendo is a very interesting rogue in the gaming world. They are solely a handheld game. Microsoft is on literally Xbox is on every handheld device out there with the Rogue Ally, the Steam Deck, and what have you. And I really do feel that they are trying to break through the barrier of getting some of their IP over on the Nintendo side to really kind of show people what it's like over here on the Xbox ecosystem. Finally, though, one thing people need to realize is Microsoft is also governed on a different scale. Not only by fans and the gaming media with the supposed existence myth of the Xbox tax, but we are also starting to see Xbox get governed on a different scale by world regulators. As we all saw through the ABK deal, Microsoft has to sometimes play by a different set of rules than other players in the gaming industry, just because they're Microsoft. They're a $1 trillion company, and so therefore Xbox is kind of gauged differently by regulators. So there is a small potential, a little bit of a mindset for me that Xbox might potentially be also pursuing this to kind of get some of the world regulators to stop breathing down their necks and making the world think that they're trying to somehow take over and own gaming in some weird monopolistic way. In the end, though, I do not feel worried or pissed off or somehow concerned about Microsoft potentially maybe doing this. I have never sat down on my Xbox, fired up a game, and be like, dude, this is going to be a great game. Let me first check my NPDs and also make sure nobody else can play this game other than I before I think it's a good game. I've never decided to hang up the controller because I found out somebody was able to enjoy the same game I'm playing. Instead, I enjoy being able to come here on YouTube and discuss these games with you, discuss about all the fun that I'm having playing these games and all the excitement that I have for all the games that are going to be released to me over the next coming years. I am just a gamer through and through. I don't care what platform it's on. If I want it, I'll play it, and I don't care what box it's on. I don't even care if it's on PC. But that being said, Xbox is my main home, and I do not feel any concern whatsoever being an Xbox fan of this potentially happening. So tell me what you think down below in the comments. Berate me. Tell me what you really honestly feel. Are you concerned about this? Are you not concerned? Is it like a no big deal for you? Or are you absolutely driven by the fact that you need to feel justified in whatever plastic box you choose to play your games on? So everybody, thank you for tuning in today and checking out the content. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, comment down below, all that fun stuff that YouTube likes to see and help me really grow with the algorithm. Also, at the end card of this video, check out my playlists and my last video. And as always, everybody, until we see each other next time, just be sure to play what you want, where you want, no matter what anybody says. I am Centurion 1307, and thank you for watching.